a licensed home inspector in North Carolina if you're buying a house? Well, TLDR, yes. However, ask a better question. Do you need a licensed home inspector in North Carolina? I'm here to tell you the answer is yes. Now, here's what you need to know. If you're buying a house, you have the chance to pick your home inspector. Your realtor's probably going to give you a couple of names. You can pick one, go find your own on Nextdoor. If you are a glutton for punishment, you can find one anywhere. Once you find that home inspector, I want you to ask these questions. I want a copy of your license, please, and they should provide it. And then you can go behind them to the North Carolina Home Inspector Licensure Board to make sure it's active and without any complaints on it. The second thing you want to ask for is their insurance. Do they have liability insurance on the house? Then you want to ask them, do they have workers' comp in case somebody gets hurt on the property at the home inspection? And then you want to ask them if they're bonded so that you know they can make good on any expenditures that might need to happen. Now, if you're wondering, well, Leigh Brown, why in the world would I need to worry about all that? It's a home inspection, and in North Carolina, it's a visual home inspection. They're not going to poke into the walls and see what's behind that sheetrock. Well, here's what could happen, because we've seen it happen not once, not twice, but a whole bunch of times. Home inspector pulls down those lovely pull-down stairs in the hallway, and they go up into the unfinished attic where there's a couple of pieces of plywood, but the inspector would like to look at the insulation and the plumbing boots and have a look around at all of the items in the attic. And then as they're walking from stud to stud, they look the wrong way, and then choop, they miss and go in between the studs. And then suddenly in the back bedroom, we have a foot, a leg, or an entire person come right straight through the ceiling. And so it's the seller's home. The seller still owns it. So should the seller bear the cost of that repair? Well, absolutely not, because it's not their home inspector. According to North Carolina's offer to purchase, the buyer retains responsibility for their home inspector, but the buyer's going to say, I do not want to pay for that inspector's foot coming through the ceiling. He screwed up. Well, that's why if you want the inspector to have to cover that cost, they should be licensed and carry all of those particular coverage items, and then the inspector can retain their own liability. Now, let's just say you're a real estate pro and you're thinking, but Leigh Brown, I never asked anybody. That's okay. Fix your policies right now, because if I am the listing agent of a property and I represent the seller, and you're the buyer agent from a different firm, and you want to come in and inspect this listing, which is absolutely allowed for in our contract paperwork, and I, as the listing agent and the seller, we encourage that, and we shall not get in the way. But if you try to bring us a home inspector that is not licensed, I've got a new set of alarm bells going off, because if you let that unlicensed inspector into the house because it's Uncle Bob and he knows a lot about real estate, I can't do anything if Uncle Bob falls through the ceiling except go back to you, the buyer, and the buyer's agent for that, because you're inheriting the liability of the inspector. I, as a listing agent, don't want my sellers to inherit any liability they did not cause, and I don't want to inherit it as listing agent. So what I would suggest is this: if you are a real estate pro, make sure that you pull the inspection information on everybody that you recommend, their license, their insurance, their bond, their workers' comp. Get all of that and keep it in a file, so that as you recommend inspectors to buyers, if they happen to watch Leigh Brown's video, you will have it ready to scoot right along to them and give them some peace of mind, knowing that in the event that something goes wrong, because it can, there will be appropriate coverage so the seller doesn't get hurt, the buyer doesn't get hurt, the buyer's agent doesn't get hurt, neither does the listing agent. We've got to all be professionals, but that means you got to tighten it up, friends, and don't get yourself caught unawares. For more information on buying and selling real estate in and around the greater Charlotte area, specifically Cabarrus County, call this girl, because I love asking all the questions that other agents maybe should be asking, but they will ask if they watch this video. And so if you want to ask better questions, give me a ringy-dingy and I'll talk to you about good real estate coaching too.